In Revenge of the Sith, we saw Master Yoda face the newly crowned Emperor, Darth Sidious.
You will not stop me. Darth Vader will become more powerful than either of us.
Faith in your new apprentice? Misplaced, maybe. As is your faith in the dark side of the Force.
The duel tore through the Senate chamber, lightsabers flashing, Force lightning screaming through the air, Senate pods crashing like meteors. In the history we know, Sidious gains the upper hand. Yoda is thrown back, beaten, and forced to flee into exile. The Jedi Order falls. The Republic becomes an empire, and the darkness rules unchallenged. But what if Yoda didn't lose? What if he stayed in the fight and killed Darth Sidious right there in the Senate? In this version of the story, that's exactly what happens, and nothing turns out the same. Let's begin. The fight was already chaos, Senate pods hurled like boulders, the air thick with the smell of scorched metal and the hiss of lightsabers meeting. Sidious sent another barrage of Force lightning screaming toward Yoda, confident this would be the final strike. But Yoda didn't let go. His small hands locked around his saber hilt, his feet planted, his will sharper than any blade. He caught the lightning, absorbed it into the emerald plasma, and stepped forward through the torrent. Every pace pushed the energy back toward its master. Sidious snarled, but the sneer faltered when the lightning began crawling back up his own arms. The crackle danced over his face, twisting his features into something even more grotesque. Yoda didn't stop. With a burst of speed that belied his size, he leapt, green light cutting a clean arc through the air. The saber struck home, piercing through Sidious's chest. The Emperor's mouth opened in a soundless scream, eyes wide with a hatred that would never find voice again. It was over. The Sith Lord was dead. Yoda deactivated his blade and exhaled, but there was no time to savor the moment. Imperial guards would be on him any second. He slipped through the maintenance passages beneath the Senate, calling Bail Organa on his comlink. Defeated the Emperor is. Hurry, you must. Bail's voice came back, strained but steady. I'll be there. Activate your beacon when ready. Yoda kept moving, down through the underlevels until he found an exhaust vent leading to the Senate Plaza. By the time Bail's speeder swooped in, the Grand Master was already climbing aboard. Contact Obi-Wan, Yoda ordered. If alive he is, a chance remains. The comm line crackled. No answer. Bail and Yoda exchanged a look, and both knew where they had to go, Mustafar. The fires of that world painted the horizon in molten red as Bail's ship descended. From the landing ramp, Yoda saw a lone figure making his way across the platform toward them. It was Obi-Wan. He was alive, but his face was a mask of grief. Master Yoda, Obi-Wan said, relief in his voice. What are you doing here? Worried we were. Heard nothing from you, we did. I'm fine, Obi-Wan replied, but the pause that followed was heavy. Anakin is gone. I fought him. I left him on the lava bank. He was too far gone. I thought it was over. Before Yoda could respond, a voice called from inside the ship. Master Kenobi, we have Senator Amidala, but she's in critical condition. Padme. Alive. Yoda's mind raced. Bring her aboard. To the nearest medical facility. Go. Stay here. I will. Obi-Wan looked at him sharply. Stay? Why? But Yoda didn't answer. He was already turning toward the lava flats. The air here was molten heat and ash. And there, sprawled on the black rock, burned but breathing, was Anakin Skywalker. His head lifted weakly. Why are you here? Yoda stepped closer, feeling the anger still simmering under the pain. To this it has come. Did not have to be, young Skywalker. Where's Padme? Anakin rasped. Yoda hesitated. In another life, perhaps there was a path back for him. Without Sidious, there was no master for him to serve. maybe there was still light left to pull him toward. But then Anakin's hand rose, trembling, reaching for Yoda's throat. One last feeble attempt at domination. Yoda broke the hold in an instant, his saber ignited. The blade swept in a single, precise motion, not to kill, but to end the fight. It cut deep across Anakin's shoulder and chest, sending him sprawling, his weapon clattering away. Smoke curled from scorched armor as he lay there, chest heaving, the fight gone from him. Yoda stepped back, gaze heavy. Clouded, your path remains. Time, perhaps, the Force will yet give you. Then he turned and left him broken on the shore, the lava ones howling. By the time Yoda reached the medical facility on Polis Massa, it was too late to speak of second chances for Padme. She had delivered twins, Luke and Leia, but had not survived. Obi-Wan stood apart from the medbay, his expression hollow. "You faced him," Obi-Wan said quietly. "Anakin?" Yoda nodded once. "Defeated he is, but live. He will." Obi-Wan's voice wavered. "I don't know if that's mercy or the hardest path of all." They stood in silence until Bail Organa joined them, his tone urgent. "Whatever you do, don't return to Coruscant. Security footage is everywhere. It shows you killing the Emperor. The Senate is calling it murder. The Jedi name is tainted more than ever." Obi-Wan looked to Yoda. "Then what now?" Yoda's eyes moved to the newborns. "Separate they must be. Train the girl, I will. Watch over the boy, you will." It was decided. Leia would go with Yoda into exile. Luke would be taken to Tatooine, hidden in plain sight. But neither of them could guess how quickly another shadow would rise to fill the void Sidious left behind. Word of the Emperor's death spread across the galaxy faster than any fleet could travel. In the streets of Imperial Center, some whispered of hope. Others burned with outrage. For the first time in years, the galaxy had no clear master. But in the private corridors of power, one man moved quickly to make sure that wouldn't last. Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin. To the Senate, he presented himself as the loyal steward of the Emperor's vision, a temporary guardian until the Empire could transition its leadership. Behind closed doors, he was gathering allies, rallying the most hardline pro-Imperial senators, and ensuring the loyalty of the fleet. The clone army was still his to command, at least for now. Yet Tarkin wasn't the only one with his eye on the throne. Far from the core, in a burn ward on Coruscant, the body they had dragged from Mustafar, the same one Yoda had left alive on the lava shore, lay under the care of Imperial surgeons. Darth Vader. Sidious' chosen heir, though the galaxy did not yet know it. In secret, Maz Amedda carried a final message from the Emperor to his apprentice. "You will inherit the Empire." Unlike in the life we know, Vader's new armor wasn't the crude prison Sidious had intended for him. This time, Vader commanded the resources himself. The best alloys, the most advanced servo motors, custom-built targeting systems for his cybernetics. The result was a suit that amplified his power rather than caging it. When he emerged from reconstruction, he was taller, faster, stronger, and infinitely more dangerous. The first the galaxy saw of its new emperor was not in the Senate, but on the battlefield. A cell of Jedi survivors had struck at an Imperial stronghold on Coruscant, hoping to inspire resistance. A shuttle descended through the smoke, its ramp hissing open. Only one figure stepped out. The Jedi hesitated. "Is that a droid, Master?" a Padawan asked. "I don't know what it is," the older Jedi murmured, "but I've never felt anything like it." Vader ignited a crimson blade. They came at him together, but he moved with terrifying precision, a blur of scarlet light and black armor. One knight was dead before she could finish her first strike. The Padawan was lifted into the air by an invisible hand, choking and clawing for breath. The Jedi Master pressed the attack, but Vader's enhanced strength smashed his blade aside and drove the saber through his chest. The rest broke. They ran. None escaped. When it was over, the black figure turned without a word, leaving the bodies where they fell. The Empire had its new face. From the outside, Tarkin played the loyal subordinate to Emperor Vader. In truth, each saw the other as a rival. Tarkin wielded political control over the Senate. Vader commanded fear in the streets and loyalty among the troops. And while the two tested each other, another old enemy was stirring. Somewhere in the Outer Rim, Maul watched the news feeds with a smile that was almost nostalgic. In the chaos of Order 66, he had slipped the noose, vanishing into the criminal underworld. But now, with Sidious dead and the galaxy divided between a soldier in black armor and a bureaucrat in a white uniform, there was room for someone else to make a move. Maul's first step was the Trade Federation. He boarded their command ship like a phantom, cutting down the new leadership in a single stroke and taking command of the separatist droid armies that had been mothballed since the end of the Clone Wars. Then he did something no one thought possible. He rebuilt General Grievous. The cyborg came back faster, deadlier, and loyal only to Maul. Together, they struck at unprepared worlds along the core Rim trade routes. The Clone Wars, it seemed, had returned. On Coruscant, the Senate was in uproar. Vader demanded total mobilization of the Imperial military to crush the new separatists. Tarkin, wary of giving his rival even more power, stalled the vote. Meanwhile, reports filtered in of Jedi survivors, Shakti, Ahsoka Tano, and others, who had been cleared of treason after Bail Organa exposed Palpatine's secret machinations. The galaxy was choosing sides again. While the politicians fought, Yoda stayed hidden with Leia, watching events from afar. On Tatooine, Obi-Wan received an unexpected visitor, Ahsoka Tano, alive and armed with news of the growing Maul threat. Obi-Wan was ready to act, but he had another problem: Luke's father. Vader's war against Maul was inevitable. If there was any chance to bring Anakin Skywalker back from the dark, it had to be before that battle began. And for that, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka would have to risk everything. The Outer Rim bled under Maul's war. His rebuilt separatist droid army swept across sector after sector, using speed and terror to force surrenders before the core could mount a real defense. With Grievous back at his side, it was as if the worst years of the Clone Wars had come roaring back, only meaner and more desperate. On Geonosis, the cradle of that first war, Maul built his fortress. A massive droid control hub rose from the desert, ringed with turbolaser towers and shield generators. At its heart was a central command ship, pulsing with signal relays, the only way to override Palpatine's old shutdown order. Destroy it, and the droids would fall silent. Fail, and Maul's machine legions would keep marching. Bail Organa stood at the head of the War Council in the newly secured Republic Fleet headquarters. Senators, clone commanders, and Jedi survivors crowded the holotable. "Strike here," Bail said, gesturing to the Geonosian plains. "If we sever their control node, the war ends before it can spread any further." It was Ahsoka who spoke next. "We'll need a ground team to breach the tower. I'll take point." Obi-Wan met her eyes. "You're not going without me. I've fought Grievous before. I know how he moves." "And Maul," Ahsoka added quietly. "You've both fought him. But if we're going to take him down this time, we'll need more than just us." That was when the room fell silent. Everyone knew who she meant. The prison on Tatooine was nothing more than a sealed cave in the Jundland wastes, but inside, it felt like a tomb. Anakin sat in the dark, chained at the wrists, staring at nothing. The black lenses of his Vader mask were gone. The man beneath them was pale, scarred, and distant. Obi-Wan stepped inside. "We don't have time for speeches. Maul is out there. Grievous is with him. You know what that means." Anakin didn't look up. "It means I don't care. Let them burn each other." It was Ahsoka's voice that broke the stalemate. "Padme's children will grow up in their shadow if we don't stop them. Is that what you want, Sky Guy?" His head lifted at that. He didn't answer. Not yet. But when the assault force departed for Geonosis the next day, a black armored figure was with them, his armor stripped of Imperial insignia, the crimson blade of Vader exchanged for the blue saber of Anakin Skywalker. The fleet hit Geonosis at dawn. Venator-class Star Destroyers dropped out of hyperspace in tight formation, their flanks spilling swarms of ARC-170 fighters and Y-wings. In the high atmosphere, Elat gunships broke off, diving through pockets of anti-air fire to deploy their troops on the barren plains. The clones moved fast, cutting a wedge toward the control tower. ATE walkers pounded the shields with mass driver rounds while squads of troopers cleared spider droids from the flanks. Above them, the sky burned, V-wings dogfighting with vulture droids, each one trying to clear the way for the ground push. Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin disembarked at the forward line, cutting through the perimeter like a spearhead. "Grievous will be here," Obi-Wan warned. "He'll come to us before we reach Maul. That's his pattern." As if on cue, the cyborg general descended from the upper levels on a repulsor lift platform, 4 sabers igniting with that signature shriek. His frame was sleeker now, armored plates polished and reinforced, servos upgraded to blinding speed. "You again," Grievous hissed, his vocoder spitting sparks. "I'll enjoy making it permanent this time." Obi-Wan stepped forward, blade raised. "We'll see." The fight was a storm of metal and plasma. Grievous's limbs blurred as he came at Obi-Wan, but this time the Jedi wasn't alone. Ahsoka darted in from the side, her twin blades flickering between offense and defense, forcing Grievous to split his attention. Obi-Wan parried high, Ahsoka struck low, and the general spun away, only to have Anakin block his retreat with a two-handed overhead strike that jarred even the cyborg's reinforced arms. "You're fast," Grievous snarled, sabers whirling. "But I'm better." "No," Anakin said, eyes locked. "You're finished." The killing blow came in 2 parts. Obi-Wan's slash taking one set of arms clean off, and Ahsoka's spinning leap driving her blade into the exposed plating over Grievous's chest core. The general collapsed in a heap of sparks and scorched durasteel. "Clear path," Ahsoka said, already moving toward the tower entrance. Inside, the halls were swarming with commando droids and droidekas. Anakin cut a path up the spiraling corridors, saber strokes clean and surgical, while Obi-Wan and Ahsoka covered his flanks. The further they climbed, the more the air seemed to hum with dark energy. At the top, the throne room doors slid open. Maul was waiting, his double-bladed saber spinning lazily in one hand. "Skywalker," he said with a predator's smile. "I was hoping you'd come." Anakin ignited his blade. "This ends today." They came together in an explosion of speed and fury. Maul's style was a blur of acrobatics and brutal jabs, each strike fueled by the kind of rage that had kept him alive for decades. Anakin matched him step for step, driving him back with relentless pressure, turning every parry into a counterstrike. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka moved to flank, but Maul lashed out with the Force, hurling them back toward the chamber walls. "This is between him and me," Maul snarled. The duel raged across the crumbling platform. Anakin's saber caught Maul's mid-swing, twisting it from his grip. The Sith stumbled, eyes wild, but before he could recover, the floor beneath him buckled from the tower's structural damage. "Tell Sidious," Maul spat, "that I—" The platform gave way, taking him into the abyss below. With Maul gone, the 3 Jedi moved fast. Anakin sliced through the command relays, severing the control ship's link to the droid armies. All across the plain, and the war fronts beyond, separatist droids froze mid-stride. By the time they returned to the surface, clone engineers were already dismantling the control tower's remains. Bail Organa's voice came over the comm. "It's over. The Republic stands." The aftermath was quieter than anyone expected. The Senate, sick of war and desperate for stability, voted to dissolve the Empire in favor of a restored Republic, one with tighter checks, more transparency, and far less room for tyranny to grow in the shadows. Bail became Supreme Chancellor by unanimous decision. The Jedi, guided now by Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, rebuilt as something humbler, less tied to politics and more to the people they served. And Anakin Skywalker stayed. Not as a Jedi Master, not as the chosen one on a pedestal, but as a father, a protector, and a man still making amends. He never wore the Vader armor again. The mask was gone, and so was the name. Some in the galaxy still looked at him and saw the shadow of the Empire. But those who mattered most, Luke, Leia, and the few who knew the truth, saw the man who had come back from the edge and helped end the last war the galaxy would see for a generation. The Force, at long last, was in balance. And that's our story. What if Yoda killed Emperor Palpatine? Maybe the galaxy wouldn't rebuild in a single night. Maybe balance wouldn't arrive with grand declarations or flawless heroes. Maybe it would come in scars that warned the next generation, in battles that never had to be fought, in the quiet choices that shaped the future. Because ending the Sith wasn't the finish line, it was the start of something harder. And Yoda? He wasn't just the Jedi Grand Master. In this timeline, he was the turning point, the moment the galaxy chose to be better, no matter how messy the path forward was. If you enjoyed this alternate timeline, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Star Wars stories. And may the Force be with you.